Chet with 15. Julius Randle did have a great night. He had 28 points, 8 rebounds. Anthony Edwards, we will get to, finished with 18. But Timberwolves only had the 88 points total. That is tied for their second fewest point total during these playoffs. So I don't... Georges, I don't know where to start on that.
Enough. God bless you.
Gee, what is that about? Is that rest? Is that not ready? What are we looking at?
To be honest with you, I thought the Timberwolves came out, hot, and like they were up 8-0. I thought this was going to be a high-scoring game. Jaden McDaniels was getting it going. But I think over the course of a game, OKC's defense just wears you out. And over the course of the game, the Timberwolves just started taking bad shots. Like, they were moving the ball early on, getting three-point shots, but as you saw, OK's defense was just smothering, and they couldn't get anything done.
Yeah, I think it was a hot start, like George said. I think, Julius Randle hitting 4 threes, I think it was in the first quarter. That was obviously a big boost for them early, but you knew this was a problem when the Thunder played really, really bad offensively in the first half, and they were only down 4. That's how you kind of knew that they were in a good position. And like G said, like their defense is just so stifling. They get you out and they force you. They're just blind trapping you. They're blitzing pick and rolls and kind of just. Anthony Edwards said after the game, he said they're like an AAU team defense where they just out of nowhere just trap you and blitz you, and it's kind of true. As soon as you turn your back, they come from the weak side. They shoot gaps. They clog the paint. So. I mean, it's not a surprise because this team has been doing this all season long, but you can tell that it gave, the offense of the Timberwolves some fits. Caruso, Dort, Case and Wallace, they're so good at pressuring you, picking you up full court. Like, they even said afterward, this is a whole different defense than the Denver Nuggets was. They're so much more aggressive, they're so physical, they have length, and it clearly kind of bothered Anthony Edwards in their offense.
It seemed to bother everybody.
But to start the game, I feel like Minnesota did a really good job of getting off the ball
So
and
then what
passing.
happened?
They stopped getting off the ball.
Because they stopped, or because they just OKC?
No, I just think if you're not used to playing that way, like Minnesota's style is a little bit of one-on-one play, get in your bag. So I think when, you can't do that over a course of 1 quarter, 2 quarters, you're like, let me get back to what's comfortable. And when they did that, that's kind of in the second half where OKC was getting fast break points, turning them over, and it wasn't good for them.
Yeah.
And the desperation sets in because they took 51 three-pointers.
And made how many?
Minnesota Celtics.
Sheesh.
Yeah, that's the thing, I think, as a person, when we're watching it on TV and you see the desperation set in and you're like, this is getting uglier by the second. There's no stopping that? Like, why isn't there a timeout just like stop doing this?
I think, like we talked about, when their defense is so stifling like it was, you have no reason other than to settle. And then when you go, again, 15 for 51 from 3, it was 29%. That's not going to cut it. And when they aren't making shots, that can't alter their defense. And they gave up 32 points in the third and 38 points in the fourth quarter. Like, you're not going to win many games against the Oklahoma City Thunder, especially when they're shooting 50% from the field and 52 from 3. So the Timberwolves kind of hang their hat on defense all year long. So when shots aren't going down, they still have to be able to be consistent and defend on the other side of the ball. And they didn't last night. They almost let their offense dictate their defense last night, which is not good, especially against a team like this that takes advantage of every single turnover.
25 points off turnovers during the playoffs. Yeah. They're averaging.
Well, they needed to take advantage of Shai's slow start, and they didn't do that. Like you said, when you're only up 4 points when Shai was, 2 for 12 to start, it's not really a good sign. You're not really feeling too great going into halftime with that.
Yeah, and again, in the beginning of the game, I feel like OKC's offense was so stagnant, but SGA just kept getting to the line, and
you
could see it was frustrating them. Jay McDaniels was literally visibly pissed off and
fouled out. I mean, how
it's a lot, and I don't love it, but again, you have to give him credit because he is guys like him and Jalen Brunson, Luka. They have mastered getting the whistle, and it's like it used to be James Harden back in the day, where they could literally switch the rules because of it. Now they've mastered the new rules and how they get it. And he's so good at it. He's so good at creating the contact, but then kind of selling it. So that's such a luxury to have when your offense isn't going for that guy just to get to the line 12, 13, 14 times a night.
It is hard. It's hard as a consumer, though. It's not the most exciting.
It's not the best product.
I don't love watching it.
You don't love watching free throws?
I mean, look, it's the fundamentals, baby.
And we get those stats right under their name on their under there.
It's a lot. It just feels like it slows things down. We're gonna have it again tonight, so I'm gonna be prepared for the Knicks version of that. But he did have 20 of the 31 that he finished with. SGA did in the second half. So whatever happened in halftime was great. How impressed were you by
throw the free throws out for a second by everything else.
Super impressed. And the dude, he's always just so cool, calm, and collected. He gets to his spots. He gets to his mid-range. Obviously, he gets to the free throw line. You can just see the way he separates against whoever's defending him, whether it's a smaller guy, a taller guy. He uses his angles, he uses his body, and he plays at his own pace. You can't speed him up. And it's funny because the whole league is going three-point, shooting, and he's still mastering this mid-range, get to the 17, 18 foot and stop on a dime. So it is such a luxury to have a guy like that can go get you a bucket, that can slow the game down, that can stop a run. You rarely see 10-0, 12-0, 14-0 runs against the Thunder. It's because he would just put it into it right away and draw a foul and frustrate the defense. So it's tough. Then on the other hand, you have Anthony Edwards, who you want your star to be a star, and I feel like Anthony Edwards, he wasn't a star last night.
Well, he admitted it. He was like, I was not aggressive enough, and I will obviously be better in game 2. We're going to get some of the free throw merchant stuff. That's Doris Burke's phrase. I didn't say it. But Mike Malone did make his big broadcasting debut last night. I thought he did a pretty good job, especially in the post game. I think he went on SportsCenter, and that's where he said the following. Shai showed why he's the MVP, which is obviously going to cause some of us to go, oh, scandal. And he probably maybe didn't mean it that way, but then again, maybe he did, George. So
I feel his pain, though.
Like, what
when you guys bring up the Cavaliers, I'm like,
Okay, so do you think he was?
No, I think as a coach, you're going to have your guys back. And obviously, when he was employed by the Denver Nuggets, you're going to go out there on a limb and be like, hey, this guy deserves the MVP. Obviously, I agree. I think Jokic deserves the MVP. But at the end of the day, he went on and made a take that doesn't have to follow his employer because that's not his employer anymore. So I don't look.
He did though, like in March, be like, "Hey, all you people not voting for Jokic, you're crazy."
Yeah, that's what's weird
like
to me. And obviously, listen, is he a little salty? Is he a little frustrated still?
Dude, if you like who likes you when they're
that's what I mean.
Your check, so like
100%. But he's also not wrong. Like it's announced today, right? SGA is going.
Wait, is that
win.
a fact? Because I
think it's
This is taking way too long.
And also, he's going to win, whether you like it or not, Georges. He's going to win. And listen, again, it's a different argument. Best player versus MVP. Said yesterday, if the best player won MVP every single year, LeBron James would have 15, 16 MVPs. So that doesn't really matter. It matters the whole team, the team success, the individual statistics. So I do think it was a bit of a zinger, and I feel like he definitely knew what he was saying. But again, he doesn't have to back his guy anymore. He's probably a little bit salty. There's probably some sort of damaged relationship there, and he probably honestly just thinks SGA is going to win MVP because he is.
Could just be that too.
He's not wrong.
You know he's going to win, so you're like, that's why he's going to win.
You got to make a splash in your first time on TV.
I thought he did a great job.
I thought he was awesome.
Are you going to make a splash anytime?
No.
Okay. Dang it. So, yes, Doris Burke did, getting back to the SGA and the free throws and all of that, she did call him a free throw merchant. And there were a lot of memes, and social media had a field day with the idea that he gets all these calls that nobody else seems to get. Anybody have an issue with that?
If I'm the other team, I do, and it does feel like he gets the whistle more than everyone else. But then on the flip side, Anthony Edwards takes 13 shots last night and 1 shot in the paint.
Right.
So if your superstar's doing that and he's settling for outside shots in mid-range, how can you be frustrated when this guy is forcing and putting pressure on the defense every single possession? So if you want more calls, take more than 1 shot in the paint in a playoff conference final game. So I think there'll obviously be some adjustments. I expect Anthony Edwards to be more downhill and make an effort early to get to the free throw line like SGA is. Because if he's doing it, he can do it. He's just as athletic. He's just as good of a shot creator. He should be doing the same thing when their offense gets stagnant. But 13 shots in game 1 of the finals for your star, like that's not your star being a star, and 1 shot in the paint, that's brutal.
I don't like that.
But I think OKC makes it clear, like they made it clear early on, like we're not letting Anthony Edwards beat us. Like they let the bench guys combine for 36 combined shots. Like they're like, if you're gonna beat us, it's gonna be Naz Reid, Dante DiVincenzo, Nikhil Alexander Walker, because I get those names.
Easier.
Mixed up. But that's how they are. They're like, we're not letting you get to the paint, and we're making your other players beat us. So Anthony Edwards is really going to have a challenge this series, and he's going to have to put his head down and put pressure on the paint, because that's what Shai does, and he gets those foul calls. Like there is no time where Shai is just going to dribble, settle. Like he's always looking to get his head downhill.
I want Ant to do that. Like that's what we want to see him do.
You can see in the presser, Anthony Edwards saying, look, it was hard last night. You got to give them credit. Their defense was great. Every time he got by his man, he saw 3 or 4 other bodies. They shoot the gap. They sit there. They clog the paint. So it clearly worked. So they're not going to change that. So unless Anthony Edwards goes nuts and makes a crazy clip from the outside, it's going to continue to be a struggle. I don't know if Julius Randle is going to have another 5 for 6 from 3 type of game. You know what I mean? He was fantastic. He kept them in it for the most part all game long till that third quarter where they went on that huge run. But this is tough. And when a team also, on the top of that, has 17 turnovers and then they have 0 fast break points, so they're playing slow. They're allowing the Thunder to do what they do best by sitting in the paint, clogging it. And they're not even getting out in transition and getting 0 fast break points. That's hard to do.
I also wonder, too, and I'm hoping that Ant just sort of, like, you know, you got game under your belt, you know what it feels like, how loud it is in there, all that good stuff, because he was frustrated. He got teed up. I'm wondering if you guys... I don't know. Did you have an issue with the tee? Did anybody have an issue with the tech called?
Did you see what actually happened?
Yeah, he like tossed the ball. Like, get out of here.
Little tossy toss.
I like that though.
Yeah,
it's entertainment. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
These are passionate moments, and these are high level competition. Like he's like, whatever, dude, get up, man. Like I know what's going on here. Like obviously you get frustrated and you can't do that, and the refs somewhat have to keep the game in control. Obviously, I would have not liked to see the tech being called, but it is what it is. I like it. I'll take it.
And it was a full-blown foul. Like, McDaniels grabs him by, he throws him down. This is actually one he didn't even have to flop on, but I get it. This is early. This is what he is. You know, all leading up to this series, they're watching hands up when he drives. Do not reach. Do not, you know.
Yep.
And they did it. So, again, I think it just was frustrating early. But like George said, I think it's awesome. I think it's great for the series. I think it's great for this one-on-one battle.
Well, and then you saw he and Julius sort of laughing at the box scores when they were up doing their post game. I can only imagine what they were looking at that made them chuckle that way. But let's talk Julius Randle. Yeah, here we go. I'm sure it was funny. So,
well, it's what do you think? It's his 14 free throws?
Yeah, I think it has something to do with probably that line. George, you called it yesterday, though. You did talk Julius Randle. You said he's the key. He's the biggest challenge that OKC is going to have to deal with. He had the 28 points. That was the laughing you saw. Do you want to see that, by the way? Just from the entertainment value, fine. But do you feel good about seeing them laugh after this kind of a blowout game and one?
Yeah, it's one game, right? And I think, as you know, being a player in a playoff series, you go in and you're trying to steal one on the road, right? You know, obviously in these playoffs, we've seen teams win 2 on the road, which is great. But as your job as a road team, you want to steal 1. They lost 1 game. It's not that big of a deal. I don't think anything of it of them laughing. But at the end of the day, I want to see Julius Randle continue this performance. He did a great job from the three-point line, but now I think it's more of him being a creator for others. And I think getting in the paint is what's next for him, because he can pass, he can facilitate. And if they're saying they're going to take away Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle is going to have to be that head of the spear to get in the paint, kick out to shooters, and hopefully those guys make threes. Yeah,
and especially if Anthony Edwards is taking 13 shots and Naz Reid's going 1 for 11, and, you know, Alexander Walker's going 3 for 11. There's going to be a lot on Julius Randle, and he was great, super efficient, 9 of 13, 5 of 6 from 3. So he was a huge part of why they got that early lead. And then they kind of started taking the 3 away and kind of jumping him a little bit too. And this is what OKC does, man. They take away what you do best. And early he was hitting outside shots. They made him adjust. They ran him off the 3-point line and kind of made him hurry up. And that's the thing with Anthony Edwards. I want him to be aggressive, but I don't want him to hurry. But I want the star to be the star. I want him to do what SGA did last night. And I feel like last night he kind of eased into it, and this is a perfect opportunity for him to go game 2, make some adjustments, and steal one, because they're a very good home team. They've been great at home in the playoffs, so they have to get one of these on the road to have a chance.
Why, you can't go down 2-0?
I mean, you can. It's just when you're going down 2-0, and this place is one of the craziest environments to play. They're also very good at home. Like, I could see the series still going very long. This game was kind of close to the big run, and then at the end there, they kind of went on a little scoring spree, but I think the home team has a huge advantage now, so it's huge to be able to steal one on the road.
So a 54-20 point differential for OKC in the paint seems like a problem. What's the adjustment? What's the obvious thing that needs to be different tomorrow?
Well, I think the Oklahoma City Thunder defense is unbelievable. How they pack the paint, how they clog the paint, how they speed you up and turn you over. Again, 17 turnovers to 0 fast break points. The Timberwolves have to be able to play a little bit faster. They can't.
Where's Rudy Gobert?
They can't let that defense get set. They can't let that defense get, in their position, and then that's when they start, jumping pick and rolls and blitzing and getting in passing lanes and wreaking havoc, which is what they do. Rudy Gobert maybe is a great option. What did he play? 21 minutes
2 points, 3 rebounds.
He didn't have very much production, so I can see them maybe tweaking some rotations, going a bit bigger. But I think, to me, they just have to play faster, and they have to get downhill, and they have to get to the free throw line more.
We should have had Boogie Cousins on just to talk about the Rudy Gobert stat line. Just have him on for that, and then just boom. Thank you, Boogie. Thanks for your input. Do we hope that do we think Game 2 is going to look a little different? Because honestly, that was rough. That was a very disappointing.
I think it's going
start.
to look really different. I think Minnesota found success in playing small ball, right?
Okay.
But then when OKC countered that and brought Kenrich Williams in and started switching 1 through 5, that was kind of like their counterpunch to what Minnesota did. It got them back in the game, got them within 4 points. But like Chandler said, you cannot turn the ball over against this Oklahoma City team. They turn those turnovers into what we call touchdowns when they're scoring on the other end and you have no fast break points. I think the biggest thing here is like Minnesota needs to do a really good job of getting into the paint and putting Oklahoma City in closeouts and have them in rotations all night. Because how long can OKC play that high-pressure, high-intensity defense? If you wear them out and get the shots that you want, it's deflating. There's some possessions you even saw where OKC's not even getting out to close out to guys. Because if you got them in rotation, that's good enough. You might get a good shot every time.
And offensively, again, they just have to be better. 88 points. Julius Randle was kind of the only bright spot. Anthony Edwards has to be better. Rudy Gobert has to find a way to be productive in this series. And their bench. Lou said it yesterday, this bench is better than Oklahoma City, which I strongly disagree with. DiVincenzo, 3 for 14, 3 for 11 for Alexander Walker, and 1 for 11 for Naz Reid. Those guys have been so good and so elite and efficient throughout the playoffs. They've got to be better. But again, kudos to the Oklahoma City Thunder's defense to forcing them and making them settle and take these low, efficient, long jump shots.
Kudos indeed. By the way, when Ant went down with the ankle thing, I almost just started to boycott basketball. I was like, I'm not watching the rest of these playoffs if that's the case. But somehow he's got a bionic ankle, so good for him. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side, Quentin Richardson is on.
There it is.
Run it over, run it back, yeah, run it over, run it back, run it over.